Excuse me. Hi, guys. It's Tuesday Night Live. Hang on one second. Sorry. Got a thing going on. It's Tuesday Night Live, and it is Tuesday the 25th, which means Christmas is in 2 months. Heads up. We are going to, or I'm going to show you a card tonight. Let me start again. My name is Betty Sakosha. I am a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States, in Massachusetts in particular. And I am the team leader of the Power of Positive Inking team. And I'm coming to you live on Tuesday night, a little bit late, because I'm not going to make excuses. In any case, my team has a new thing that we are doing, bi-monthly challenge. I don't know if that's the right word, because I mean 2 challenges a month as opposed to a challenge every 2 months. So I don't know which way. If you know what that is, just let me know. In any case, this month's challenge, or this couple weeks challenge, was to use something black. Let's use black. I love black. So I decided I was going to make a different kind of a Christmas card, like a black and white type Christmas card. So I'm going to flip you down and we will get started. Maybe you can help me design it because I've got a number of options for you. Hello, Marie. Okay. Whoops. There's the card. Get that out of the way. There's my tea. For those of you, excuse me, that have any kind of throat issues going on right now, there's a tea by Yogi called Throat Comfort, and it's delicious, and it comes with like fortunes on it. So not only is it, and it's not a fortune, it's a whatever, words of inspiration. Okay, so what I'm using for this Christmas card is going to be the Warm Welcome set, which was just released the beginning of this month for World Card Making Day. So it's going to appear in the next catalog, but you can get it now. Excuse me, there's the code for that. And it comes with a set of dies. So if you are getting it, I absolutely recommend get the dies with it. The dies cut out the door, they cut out the present, the cat, the bouquet, the mugs, these tea mugs here. That should say Yogi. The shoes, a couple of hearts. It cuts out a lot of things. And then some things I'm not still quite sure what they're for. There's a door panel here. This could be a welcome sign, or it could be a doormat. This right here is a different kind of door handle. So there's all sorts of things that it cuts out. So if you're interested in this, after watching the video, I highly recommend getting the bundle. So it would be the Warm Welcome bundle that you would be interested in. Okay, so I'm going to start with my layer. So this is what I'm using. I'm going to layer this on my cardstock. So I have a black base for this cardstock. Again, this theme was let's use black. That's not a challenge for me, honestly, because I love black. I love using black. I feel like everything, if it doesn't look good on anything, it looks good on black. So that's the way to go. And then I did a layer just a 1/4 of an inch smaller. So this is my smoky slate layer. And I think I can glue that on now. We'll find out as soon as I glue it if that was a mistake, but I'm pretty sure I can glue that on. So I'm just using green glue. Any adhesive works. All right, now comes my first real significant layer. So what I used here was the timber. Look at, I looked it up ahead of time. The timber embossing folder. So this is a 3D one. It does a really nice job of making a 3D image. So there you go. It's really pretty. I'm thinking this is the front, but I'm not an arborist. I am pretty sure that's the front. So I'm going to go ahead and use that for my card. But what I want to do is I want to make it look like a house. And I mentioned this in a previous video. Excuse me. So maybe you saw that last week, but I'm going to show you exactly how I did that. If you want to get something that looks like siding on your house, or if you want something that looks like shiplap or something like that. So for this particular thing, given the size of the door that I'm going to add to it, I know that a 1/2 inch is what I want to work with. So my slats, I'm going to score this at a 1/2 inch facing up. Okay, so whatever DSP, if it's indented or outdented, that's not a word. I don't know what you call it. The opposite of indented, you would, whatever it is, you want it, the side you want facing up is what you're going to put the holes in. And then you can see, I think you can see that I'm getting these lines right here. On focus, there we go. So you're getting these lines right here. So I'm going to do this every 1/2 inch. This works with your paper trimmer, or if you have a scoring plate, that works fine with that. If you're doing a different kind of look, you might want to, you know, like I said, for the door that goes with this set, I know that this size is appropriate, but there are other cards that I've done where I've done that like every inch or every 3/4 of an inch or something like that. But when all is said and done, that's what I have. So that looks like paneling on the front of a house. Okay, so I'm going to put that aside for now, and let's get going on the door itself. Alrighty. Okay, so let me grab some black cardstock. And because this is black, I decided I was going to do a black door, which is pretty popular these days. A lot of people own black doors or have black doors on the front of their house. Let me show you a tip that we learned during World Card Making Day. This is a photopolymer stamp set, and the middle of this is cut out, which is handy because it doesn't ink up. That can sometimes happen. So it's handy if it's cut out. But as such, it's kind of wonky, or it could be wonky. So what they recommended is just put it on your paper, on your scrap paper, face down, and then bring your block to it. And that way, this is going to be the shape it wants to be, and also the shape that's going to match the die cut. So that's how you want to do that there. All right, because it's a black door, and I'm stamping it in black, I need to have it pop in some way. So what I'm going to do is actually use Versamark, and I'm going to heat emboss this. So I am going to heat emboss this. What did I do with my, whoops. Okay, left it across the room. All right, in the catalog now, so what I'm showing you are some really old products that I own because they're still good, so I'm still using them. But if you don't have the products I'm showing you, they are now available on page 49 of your catalog. And it comes with the tray that I'm going to show you, but theirs has a screw-on tip, which was a definite improvement. It comes with your embossing buddy, a brush, and then tweezers to hold your image. All really useful things. So if you do not have them, you definitely should get them. And those go for, it's called the Embossing Editions Toolkit, and it goes for $27. So that's there in your catalog. All right, but what I'm showing you is actually old product because I've had my embossing buddy for a very long time. So it's a little pillow of, I don't know, doesn't tell you what's in it. Magic. That adds a little, excuse me, a little bit of kind of like a little dusty look to this. You can't tell on camera, but it's a little bit dusty. If I do that, you can see what it looks like, right? This is kind of like chalk residue, if you will. But it's going to prevent the embossing powder from kind of getting stuck. It's going to cut down on the static. So it's really handy to have and pretty much essential if you're using any kind of metallic embossing powder. I'm using black embossing powder tonight, but if you are using any kind of metallic, you really want to use that. Now, I'm going to use my Versamark. That is a gross looking pad, right? If you've been stamping for a long time, your Versamark pad might look like that. But when you first get it, it's pristine. Take a moment and enjoy it because it doesn't stay that way long. In any case, Versamark also kind of cleans up your stamps, which is why it looks like that. But Versamark is like a sticky ink that will allow your powder, it's a slow drying ink, so it will allow you time to put your powder on and heat it up. So I'm going to stamp this door right on here. I wanted to use, I'll bring it in now. I'm going to use my paper piercing mat. Because this is a photopolymer set, you're going to get a much better image if you have a paper piercing mat below you. Okay, so you can see that is almost useless. You cannot see that, right? So to emboss it, I'm going to bring in, again, this is really old, but Stampin' Up! Sells a combo pack right now with all the essentials and all the metallics for their embossing powders, which is really handy. And then you literally just flick it off and you get this. Now by heating it up, I'm not going to take the time to heat it up on camera for you tonight, but by heating it up, you will then get, let me move that out of the way. You will get this right here. Okay, so you can see what that looks like. It's all shiny, and it really pops that door out. So what I did next, and I won't do this on camera for you, but I cut out the door itself, as well as, oh, look at that embossing powder on my, see, staticky, I'm telling you. You know what, Betty? Find your embossing buddy and pick it up. Here it is. Embossing powder does kind of gets everywhere, but it's so worth it. You will forgive it. Okay, so what I did with this is you're able to cut out both the door image and then the cutout of the door at the same time. Okay, so you can cut that, run it through your embossing machine, and you've got both of them cut out at the same time. That's super handy. I do use tape. You could use like Post-it notes. If you have a magnetic board that works, that would work as well. But you really want this to be, because this is really fine, you want to make sure that your pieces, your embossing pieces, do not move on you. All right, so this is just an extra piece. It's a decent rectangle. We're not using it for the card, but save it. You'll need it for something. Okay, so for this card, I want it to look like it's snowing in beyond the door. Okay, that was my goal, is to have it snowing, like I'm opening the door and there's snow happening outside. So I'm pulling in another stamp set that is in the current catalog, and it's called Handmade Wishes. I feel like it doesn't get a whole lot of love, so I'm here to give it some love. Okay, so it's on page 21 of your catalog, and you can get a bundle and get it with a punch, which is really convenient for making tag, and it's just pretty. It's a really pretty punch that can also be altered in a lot of ways. So this is the stamp set here, and I'm going to make my snow using these two little snowflakes right here. Now, you may have a, you may already have a snowflake in your collection. When I first made this card, I actually used these snowflakes right here from the Christmas Lights bundle. But then everything else I'm using comes from the Handmade Wishes. So this one I'm going to make using these snowflakes here. Okay, so I'm going to put in my paper pierce thing underneath because I want to stamp on this. Now, for snowflakes, I'm going to use my craft white pad. Stampin' Up! Does sell a white pad, and it's a slow-drying craft ink. And you want to tap super lightly. You have to trust me on this. All right, so I am going to just randomly stamp these snowflakes all over. Now, if you wanted to, you could also emboss these. So you could put either clear or white embossing powder on these and get a raised image. I'm looking for subtle snow. That's how I like my snow, subtle. So I'm not going to do that, but you certainly could. All right, now get that out of the way. Now your embossing machine has two different controls. So it has a step 1 which is a drying setting, and then step 2, which is an embossing setting. So if you want to at this point, I'm not going to take the time to do it because I think this looks pretty dry. I'm going to take my chances, but you certainly could take the time to just dry it because the craft ink does dry slow. So you can either set it aside to let it dry or you can heat it up. Okay, I'm going to take that out for now. All right, so on the back of this, let me see if I can kind of zoom you in a little bit and show you how I'm going to do this. Let's see, I'm going to grab one of my silicone mats just in case, and I'm going to put glue all around the outside. Now, to let you know, this paper was 3 3/8 by 4 5/8. I know. I hate eighths, so if I cut them twice, that was a lot, right? If I did 2/8 of inches, but I'm coming to understand the importance of it. Okay, so I'm just trying to do a very thin bead of the Tombow glue around the door, and then this, because it is what it is, doesn't really matter. I don't have to worry if it's super straight. But if it was a pattern, if you were putting a pattern on the other side, as if you were going from one room to another, so there was a pattern on the wall of the room or whatever, you might want to make sure that this is straight, and the green glue will give you that time to do that. So when I turn it over, oh, look at that. It's a door with snow outside. Subtle snow. Okay. Now I'm going to start to, let's start to put this together. Okay, I did get a little glue. See that there? So if you're working on a silicone mat, that's good. Now, I'm going to ask for your opinion while I start to get this together here. I can use a variety of backgrounds. So far, I've made this card once, and I used this background here. So I made it look like, what do you call that? Siding on your house. You know, paper siding. But another option would be this one, the brick and mortar, which is a current embossing powder. It's embossing folder. You can see it's super, it's a 3D one. It's got a lot of texture to it. And then the last one we could use is this one here, which is called Painted Texture. Painted Texture. Also a current one. So this kind of looks like a stucco wall. So while I am starting to put my adhesive on this, I want you to tell me which of these you prefer that I use tonight. So the option is up to you. All right, so I'm going to, Lynn said bricks. Sandy said siding. All right, I need someone to break this tie. Go ahead, somebody else say stucco. I'm going to turn this over while we get somebody to solve this for us. Marie said brick. Okay, I do have one done with siding, Sandy, so I can show you in the end. Maybe that's fair. Okay, so I'm going to use a brick house. And on the back of this, wait a minute, Marie. Marie is, brick wall. Okay, I thought she meant siding. I thought she was voting twice. You can't do that. Okay, excuse me. So what I'm going to do here is put just flat glue down here, and I'm going to use dimensionals over here. Now, I don't know if you know, but Stampin' Up! Sells black dimensionals. And the beautiful thing about black dimensionals is that they come in a package with both the mini and the grown-up dimensionals. So that really is kind of handy. I wish that happened with all of our dimensionals, but it only happens with the black ones. So don't overlook those in the catalog. Okay, so I'm going to, you agreed on brick, right? Oh, I forgot. You got one more decision to make. Maybe Sandy will be maybe she will make the decision with this. Okay, so we need a rug in our house. So this is the wall of our house, and we have excuse me, a black door, but now we need a rug. So because the theme for my group this week was black, I'm using a black and white rug. And this comes from this paper pack that can be found in the current annual catalog. It's called Perfectly Penciled. And it has lots of different images, but they're all black and white. Now you're saying, but that's not black and white, Betty. That one I was messing around with coloring it in, because the beauty of black and white is that you can color it in. But one side is generally black, and the other side is generally white. But you get a lot of different florals and then some various patterns in here. So I decided that because it was a Christmas card, I was kind of limiting which rugs I would go with. So we have, I'm going to call this number 1. So this is kind of a fancy number 1, a polka dotted number 2, or a plaid-ish number 3. So we need to know which one of those you would like. So while you're deciding that, I think I'm gonna take my chances. Lynn likes the number 3, which is the plaid. I'll give a second. Number 3. Oh, 2 people said number 3, so that must be the way we go. Oh, 3 people said it. Perfect. That's the way we'll go. Okay, so I'm gonna put my brick layer on my card front with my little smoky slate showing in between. And then I'm going to use this as my rug. That would be a busy rug. We're using the more subtle side. Okay, so that is going to go right along the bottom. And this, if you are interested in remaking this card, this is 1 3/4 tall by 3 1/8 long. I know, more eighths, right? Okay, so excuse me. Back to my my door. My snowflakes are definitely dry by now. I've got the dimensionals on the door part of it, and this part is going to be flat. So when you put this down, you want this to kind of be right along the top of your rug. Now, it is very difficult to tell here, but this is raised slightly, so it adds a little bit of interest to it. It's minor. You can't find dimensionals and you're in the middle of the card. Just go ahead and throw down, use glue on there. But it is a little fun detail. Now I've got my black door. It is snowing. It is gray and snowing outside, and my pretty rug there. All right, now we're going to add some presents. So this stamp set comes with presents. So you can use this stamp set clearly for anything. You could use it any season, but we're going to make these Christmas presents. And I'm going to show you where I went wrong previously, so you don't have to bother trying that unless you're better than I am. So I tried to use my blends to color these in. I started with this one. It was a terrible mess. Can you see how the red got in all sorts of those dots there? It was awful. It's like when you buy that really cheap paper because you're just desperate. And then you get it home and everything's just a little bit askew. That's what this was. And you're not making a card this nice and putting askew paper on it. So then I tried it again, and I was better this time, but not quite so good. Now, we do have something called a color lifter, which comes with the blends. It works better on some colors than others. It does not work great on red. I think you can see that there. There was no way that was coming out of there. So I decided the heck with that. I am not doing it that way. I'm going to use markers. So I'm going to use markers for this. And I will let you decide if you're really against what I'm about to do. Because I went to the store yesterday. I was at Marshall's, and I saw this. I really liked the wrapping paper, and it was kind of a light pink and red. So that's what I was going to go with. But if I hear a quick response that that's a foolish choice, then I won't do it. So you let me know if you would like me to put in very traditional Christmas colors or not, you let me know. But if you don't speak quickly, these are the colors that they're going to be. You know what? I'm going to start with the red because we'll probably go with red regardless. And I'm going to give you a hint that I heard years ago that is I find really handy. So let me zoom in here. Okay. I'm getting results that it would be fine. So that's what I'm going to go with. Okay, so I'm going to go with, so these are our regular Stampin' Write markers. Haven't used these in a really long time. They come with 2 tips, so it's got a brush end tip and then a teeny tiny tip that's great for details or writing a message or whatever the case may be. So I'm going to start actually at the top. And this is the helpful hint that I had heard years ago that is very handy. When you use markers, not blends, but regular markers, they can sometimes be very, you can see the lines, and you don't want to see the lines. So what I had heard years ago was just to go in little swirls. And I am using a very light touch on this. Because it's a brush tip marker, if you use too much pressure, you're going to ruin your marker, and then you're going to be kind of upset because we can't buy markers individually. I think we can still buy black, but I think that's the only marker we can buy individually. In the olden days, you got to get every marker in its individual color. So I'm going to let that dry, but you're not going to see actual lines in it, which is really what I was going for. Okay, so now let me see. I'm going to make this striped with my pink. So that'll be pink, white, red. Pink, white, red. I teach preschool, so I'm very good at patterns like this. Well, particularly if they only have 3 things in them. Okay. And then pink, white. Okay. And then down here, I'm going to put, just to save me time, I'm not going to color in all of the background. So my background is going to be white. And I'm going to color in random polka dots in red. I probably want more red than pink, because somebody's going to say that's not a good combination. And I get it. We all have different ideas about wrapping paper. That's why there's so many wrapping papers in the store. Okay, so this one is Blushing Bride, which is our lightest pink right now. Not to be confused with Petal Pink, which is, frankly, not pink. All right, so this is super easy to color in. It happens very quickly. Okay, can you see that tiny little dot there? Yeah, I can too. There we go. Okay, fixed. Oh, I forgot my stripes. Someone would have reminded me. All right, so that's going to go next to the red. Like that. I'm not a huge fan of coloring in, so it's kind of a big deal when I do. All right, and I'm just using the detail part to fill in little tiny corners that apparently I missed. Okay, so when all is said and done, there you go. That is way better, I think you can agree, than my mushy blah. Okay, we're going to go with that. All right, so I'm going to put dimensionals on this, and I want to show you how good our cardstock is, because I'm actually going to use our black dimensionals. I say that, and then I don't know where to put them. Okay, does that happen to everybody or just to me? Okay, I'm going to use black dimensionals on the back of my, whoops, there we go, on the back of my presents, because I want them to pop up. And watch this, you're not even going to see that they're black through it, because our cardstock is awesome. Now, if you're not using Stampin' Up! Cardstock, I would not recommend using black dimensionals on the back of white paper. La! Okay, coming together. Now, next step, I am going to take, there's an image in the die cut that can be used like as a number plate on your house, or to put a little message in the card, because a number of the greetings in here fit into these messages. So I'm using it kind of as a rug. Now, there is something that potentially could be a rug, but I'm not using that as a rug. I'm going to use this as my little sort of rug in front of the door. So I previously cut this out, and I'm going to give you 2 options again. Okay, so I'm going to use the word joy, and that comes from this Handmade Wishes. So these are 2 different stamps, so you can outline your image. So joy and joy. They're not together there, but these 2 are. Okay, so I'm going to do my outline in black for joy. This is dicey, and I have not prepped a backup, so fingers crossed. All right, I'm going to do 2 of these. All right, you could leave that, or you could even take your markers and color it in, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to live on the edge. And I'm going to take the image, the colored in image, Joy. I'm going to put it on a smaller block. I think generally that helps. If the block is too small, however, it does make your, it makes it kind of, you can't quite see the edges of it, but this block is fine for this image. Marie is saying that my outfit matches my, my card. You're right, because I love black. All right, this is so dicey. But it is a card, right? Yeah, pretty good. You know what I'm going to do? That one's better. Let's see. Yeah, that one's better. But what I actually am going to do is bring in my marker because I happen to have it out. I'm just going to fill in these tiny little spots that I clearly did not do well. Okay, now it's fine. It's a little difficult for you to see, but there is a black outline and red lettering. All right, now I'm going to give one more choice because there's another fun image in this stamp set, and it's this one right here. I'm not really sure why it's in here, but it's a fun image. So I was thinking, if you had this kind of fancy house, you're probably the type of person that has a fancy rug. So I'm going to take this rug, I'm going to take this image here, and I'm stamping it in smoky slate, and I'm just going to cover over the whole thing. I used real red. The color red that I used for this is real red. So now you've got kind of that, you know, that kind of rug. So we can have a plain white rug, or we can have a fancy rug. So you tell me which rug you prefer. It's like you're designing my house tonight. I appreciate that. So while you're deciding on that, I'm going to get my doorknob because we need a doorknob. So Stampin' Up! Currently has a lot of different things that are doorknob shaped because doorknobs are round. But I like this one here. There's also the black. These are a little bit flat, but there are black mad dots that come in a couple of different colors, but different sizes, but similar sizes to these. And then we have some great brushed metallic ones. But because I wanted to keep this pretty much black, I thought I was going to go with that. However, when I started to look at the card initially, I was like, that doorknob needs to pop a little, so I'm going to do it in gray. So I am using the classic matte dots that come in white, vanilla, gray, and black. And Lynn is saying fancy. Can you put the rugs on the card? Oh, okay. People want opinions before they do it. Okay, so that's one, and that's fancy. I kind of like the fancy. I don't know. Feels very festive to me. I'm going to take I said I was going to use gray, and then I went and grabbed black. So I'm going to put that right on my doorknob. All right, I think I'm going to go with the fancy one. And I'm going to grab baby dimensionals for the back of this. Like so. And again, they're not going to show through because Stampin' Up! Has quality white cardstock. Okay, so that's going to go in my door. Technically, you might actually have that facing the other way to welcome the people in your house, but I think that would be a little goofy for a card. All right, and then on the inside of the card, I'm just going to use a layer of white because the card is black. You can't see anything. And then I'm going to use some words from the set. So I'm going to use With Love But you could do Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, Happy Holidays, peace, love, and joy for you. There's lots of different options here. I'm going to go with love. I like the font of that. I think I'm going to go with that as soon as I can find it on my table. Did I put it away? Maybe I'm not going to go with that. We're going to find out in a second. Oh, yeah, I put it away. Silly me. Okay. All right. All right, so I'm going to stamp this in red. I could do it in black, but I feel like... All right, it is a non kind of traditional card, but I feel like you should have some red in there, right? All right, so let me unzoom you. Add some adhesive to the back of this. And apply that right inside. All right. So here is the finished card that we did tonight, thanks to your help. And I'll show you a different version of the card that I did previously. And that was with the wood paneling and the different snowflakes. So not a big difference, but there are different snowflakes there. And I did use the same color, thanks to you people. Thank you for approving my wrapping color choices. And this was just a different rug from that set. And so this one doesn't have the fancy one, and this one does. I think this one can handle fancy because it's on a plaid. I think this one would have been a bit much, to be honest. Okay, so that is that. Let me flip you down and chat for a second. So that's my black challenge card for my team. If you are on my team and you are watching this and you haven't yet done your black challenge card, I'm interested to see what you do, and you can add it to our team Facebook page. And if you'd like to be part of our team Facebook page, you just need to join our team. Right now, Stampin' Up! Has a special going on that for $99, which is their standard price for a starter kit. Normally you get $125 of anything you want in the catalog. Right now, you actually get $155 for $99. So it's a really, really good deal. And you can get anything new and upcoming. So, excuse me. So if you haven't yet seen my video from last week, I did something with fitting florets, which is brand new, hot off the press, and is available right now to demonstrators. You can actually add that to your starter kit. And you can get the whole suite, and you still have more money to buy more things. For the whole collection. So if you are interested in that, that deal only goes until the end of the month. So please get in touch with the demonstrator who brought you here, or get in touch with me if I'm your demonstrator, and let me know, and I would be happy to answer any questions. There's really no downside to being a demonstrator, only upsides. So we would love to have you as part of our team. All right, let me know if there's anything I can do for you. If there's anything that you saw today that you say, I need that, please... you can either go to my online store if you're a customer of mine, or go to your demonstrator and she will absolutely take care of you. I'm thinking of this now, but I forgot to say this before. You think about all of the backgrounds that you currently own in your collection. Like you might have mountains, you might have lakes, you might have oceans. All those things would be really cool to have outside of your door, right? I would love to have all those things outside of my door. Any one of them I would take. So think about that, and maybe that's another way that you could use this card. All right, thanks guys. Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you next Tuesday. Have a good night. Bye guys.